Hi everybody, it's Geordie from Geordie's Cards here for Pawsome Stamps today, and I'm bringing you this kind of fun, slightly different style of birthday card featuring the Monster Party stamps. And I absolutely adore these little critters. They are so cute. I have gone ahead and coloured and cut them out. I've stuck with greens and purples, which I know is slightly kind of Halloween looking, but I thought they worked really well for these little monsters, and aren't they just adorable? I think they're gorgeous. I think this guy with the wings is my favourite. So I've cut those out, and then I went ahead and took a black piece of cardstock. It originally measured 5.5 by 4.25 inches, and I used a stitched star to cut out some star details on that. And now I have this piece of Bristol smooth cardstock, which also measures 5.5 by 4.25 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place that black star panel down on top of my Bristol smooth cardstock, and I'm just going to use a pencil to try and mark out around where each star kind of finishes. I'm not too worried about these pencil marks because they are going to be covered up by this black panel. But what I'm going to do is do some ink blending on this back piece, and I wanted to do a couple of different colours, so I wanted to make sure that I kind of figured out which areas I needed to use each colour in, if that makes sense. So here I have Twisted Citron Distress Oxide ink, and I'm just kind of using a blending brush to blend that out. I was trying to go for slightly darker in the middle and then blend out to lighter towards the edge. But this ink pad is really juicy, and it kind of came out a little bit darker than I anticipated, but we're living with it, it's okay. So that's my Twisted Citron. I'm going to go in now with Dusty Concord, and I have a little bit more success of doing this kind of gradient effect with this colour. And just as I say, starting out darker in the centre and then blending out to light towards the edges of each piece. And I'm just bringing that black cardstock piece back in again, just to make sure that I've covered enough of the area that it's going to kind of fill in all of that star shape. Now I'm going to splatter some water on. This is my little trick. I like to squirt a little bit of water into my hand and then use a paintbrush. I find that if I squirt directly on to the cardstock, that I kind of end up with a bit of a mess. So I find this is the most effective way to do it for me. And once I'm happy with that, I will just bring that black piece back on again, just to make sure everything's looking okay. So now comes the fun part, the kind of assembling of everything. So I have my little images here, and I'm just trying to figure out where they're going to go. So before I adhere anything down, I am going to pop them in place, figure out where I'm going to put everything, and then I can stick them down permanently. So I kind of wanted this guy peeking out from behind that star. They're kind of on an angle, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to do that. And then I decide the guy at the top kind of needs to be at a bit of an angle as well, just to kind of make it look a little bit more quirky. So once I'm kind of pretty happy with where everything's going to go, I've got a few little sweets that I've coloured in as well, and I'm just going to scatter those around. I'm going to bring my glue out now. As always, I tend to do this kind of like awkwardly, I don't know, but I'm just going to kind of pop a little bit of glue onto my monsters and stick them in place onto that black cardstock panel so that I can kind of create one piece rather than lots of little pieces, if that makes sense to you. So again, I'm just fiddling with this guy, trying to get him in the right spot. And as always, I add way too much glue and end up having to kind of clean it off with my paper towel here in a second. But it all works out fine in the end. With the other guy, I decided I was just going to keep him kind of off for now because I hadn't quite decided exactly what I wanted to do with him. And I really wanted to sort out my sentiment before I did anything else. So I have sentiments from the stamp set. So this one reads Happy Birthday. And I've just left it white. I thought about like doing it different colours, but I've just cut it from some white cardstock. And I'm going to pop it in there behind that top monster. And then I just wanted to make sure that this guy and the little balloons didn't cover it up. So I'm going to go ahead and attach this guy down now that I'm happy he's not going to cover the sentiment. And once I'm happy with him, I will stick the sentiment down. And I'm going to trim off the end of it there, so I'm not too worried that it's a bit wonky at the end there. It's going to be flush with the end of the card, but I just wanted to kind of figure out exactly how long I wanted it to be before I trimmed it down. So I've stuck it behind my little monster, and now I'm going to attach some more glue to the back of it and get it onto the black card panel. But I'm just making sure it's nice and straight before I do that. So I'm just going to use my liquid glue to attach it down to the cardstock piece there. Make sure it's all nice and firm. And then I'm going to bring my scissors out and just trim off that edge so it's flush with the cardstock. And there we go. I'm happy with that. I'm going to attach some glue to the back of the balloons and make sure everything is stuck down nicely. And once that is done, I am going to bring out my sweets that I had coloured in, and I'm kind of going to scatter those around, figure out where I want to put them. In the end, I actually changed this slightly, and I thought there was too much going on up by that party banner, that birthday banner. So I bought that sweet that I've kind of popped up there, that green one with the purple polka dots, and I'm actually going to pop it down beside that purple one, just because I thought it kind of balanced it out a little bit better rather than having it all at the top and making it look a bit top heavy. So that is pretty much my card panel complete, and I can go ahead and attach all of this down onto that ink blended panel that I have done. I am using quite a lot of glue, as I always do, because I like to make sure everything's securely fastened. I didn't do anything with foam tape today. Everything is flat. There is no dimension on this card. I mean, there are little kind of, you could say it's got a bit of dimension because there's a layer on a layer, but no foam tape. It's all being secured firmly down with liquid glue. So once that was done, there was another little part of the sentiment that I thought would look quite cute towards the bottom there. So I went ahead and I kind of fussy cut it out, and it says Little Monster. So the sentiment's going to read, Happy Birthday, Little Monster. I thought it was quite fitting for my son's friend, and I'm sure his mum would agree with me as well. Be quite fitting for my son as well, to be honest. But I just thought that was kind of cute and funny and a little bit punny as well. So I'm going to go ahead and attach all of this down onto a card base. I've just cut a standard sized card base from some white cardstock, and I haven't put anything inside this one today. I decided just to leave it blank. That way my son can write his message inside, and it's all ready to send his friend. So I thought about leaving it there, and then I decided I needed a little bit of extra detail. So I have this clear glaze. Now, I always struggle with this. I don't know what it is, whether it's me using it incorrectly, but I tend to get it a little bit clumpy. But anyway, I wanted to put some on the balloons. Didn't work particularly well. It's okay. It gives a bit of a shine, and that's kind of what I was going for anyway. And then I did put a little bit on top of each of the little monsters' eyes as well, and I actually really like the way that turned out. It kind of made them look almost like googly eyes. Obviously they don't move, but it kind of gives that similar kind of effect, and I thought it was kind of fun. So quite happy with that part. Maybe not so great on the balloons, but on the eyes I think it turned out quite cute. And that is it. That is my completed card. I hope you enjoyed this one today. If you did, as always, please do subscribe to my channel. I'd love to see you come back again. Please give it a thumbs up, and please feel free to leave a comment down below. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Take care.